Mario Kart World has been around for almost a month, and the more time I spend with it, the more I fall in love with it. But an $80 game is something that's hard to swallow, and a lot of people are still asking if that price is worth it, even though 90% of the people who get the game are getting the bundle, so it's really only $50, but that's still no excuse for the base game being so expensive. So I get it. It's a question that's going to have a different answer for everybody, but something that's a bit more objective that I wanted to try to tackle today is definitively, is it better than its predecessor? Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is a lot of people's favorite kart racer, for great reasons. It's an amazing game. So against something that's that much of a titan in this genre, how does Mario Kart World stack up? Which game's better? Well, let's find out. I think the most succinct methodology to go about this is just to go over each main category of important stuff for a kart racer, and decide in the moment which game has a better version of it. Then, if one has more than the other, that's the better game. And I'm not going to beat around the bush here and start with some of the less important stuff. Let's go right away with the most important category, gameplay. How does the game feel to play? How does it drive? Is it responsive? How high is the skill ceiling? How low is the skill floor? And starting with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, it's a titan in this genre for a reason. It feels amazing to play. The controls are incredibly responsive and you drift exactly where you think you should. It also has an incredibly low skill floor. Pretty much anybody I know can pick up Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and start playing. If anything, you'll have to explain to them how to hit gas, but once they know the buttons, it's fairly easy to get and understand. However, there is an equally low skill ceiling. You can really only get so good at this game. Outside of very niche shortcuts and exploits, its ease and standardization is also its downfall. So overall, very good, but a little bit lacking in the casual skill ceiling area. Then we have Mario Kart World, and this is a clearly expected outcome. I think most people are praising Mario Kart World's gameplay more than anything else about it. I mean, except for the OST. But the ability to jump up and or to the sides, and the ability to trick off of walls, rails, and vertical beams, something that was not shown in any of the directs or trailers or anything, but if you're in midair and you hit a vertical beam, you can trick off of it and keep going. And there's some nutty shortcuts with that are just every day there's a new shortcut. And this isn't to discount the driving itself. The actual driving and drifting is just as responsive and intuitive and feel good as Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. But then added on top of it is all this tricking nonsense, which then takes the skill ceiling, which was previously fairly low, and raises it dramatically. And it raises it in a way that doesn't make the skill floor go up too much. The basics of driving are still there and still easy to pick up and play with, whereas the tricking part does take some getting used to, and I admit that. But once you get used to it, it feels good. So as far as how the gameplay is, the winner far and away is Mario Kart World. But that's just the first category. Moving on to our next category, which is equally as important for a kart racer, how are those courses? Being ranked on variety, level of quality, and level of fun. Starting with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, in a post-booster pass world, this game has an insane course collection. Need I remind you, you can pick from 96 racetracks in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe with the booster pass. It is insane. Like, sure, some of these courses are kind of bad, and some of them look kind of bad too. But you've got 96 courses. You can afford a couple stinkers. You can play this game on random for hours and never get the same course twice, and that is an incredibly good thing. This game has such an amazing variety in racetracks. Moving on to Mario Kart World, this is a bit difficult to rank. It's kind of hard to talk about, because on one hand, there are 30 and 2 repeating courses throughout this game, and that's a really slimmed down version of what we just got one game prior. However, you know, those courses are very, very good. I would rank all but 2 of them in at least a B tier, whereas there are several Mario Kart 8 Deluxe courses that go into C or D tier territory. There's really not a terrible course in World. There's 2 kind of boring ones, and the rest are all really good. But then the conversation gets more difficult when we talk about the intermission courses. These are the tracks in between the courses, of which there are more than 100. It is insane how many there are. If you count going in both directions, we start edging into the 200s. So on one hand, that is an insane amount of courses that dwarfs the amount that's in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. However, these are intermission courses. They are 2, very rarely 3 laps long, so many of them are short, and many of them are kind of mid. There are a few standouts, and there are some that I think are even more fun than some Mario Kart 8 Deluxe courses in general. There's a couple intermission tracks in this game that I think are better than 2 of the Mario Kart World courses, but a lot of them are pretty mid. But then the conversation gets even more weird when, if we're talking about courses and the amount of variety you can drive on, how do we talk about free roam in this context? Because theoretically, if courses just comes down to how varied is the gameplay, free roam makes it infinite. But it's not like you can race on free roam. Look, it's a hard question to answer when comparing these two games. So if we were just talking about the race courses themselves and not the intermission, not the free roam, I think I do give this category to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe here. But frankly, this category, more than anything, I think brings up a most important point to this whole conversation. And it's something that's so important, I think we're done ranking what parts of these games are better than the other. Because when it comes down to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe versus Mario Kart World, it's difficult to compare the two in a level of quality because they are so very different. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is the pinnacle of Mario Kart as we've known it. It has the most courses, it has the tightest controls, it has the best graphics and soundtrack up until that point. It's just a treat to play the whole time through. There is not a single strong flaw about Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. It is Mario Kart perfected. But Mario Kart World is Mario Kart evolved. Mario Kart World is a completely new take on the series. It's something completely different from what's come before. And it's a pleasure to play, and its purpose and goal of game is so different, and it makes it very hard to compare these two games directly. If you asked me what game is better, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe or Mario Kart World, to me it sounds like you're saying what game is better, New Super Mario Bros. Or Super Mario Sunshine. They're both incredibly good games and the peak of their genres, but those games set out to complete completely different goals. So it's nearly impossible to tell you which one is better in comparison to each other. But to wrap this up and to put a point to all of this yapping, if you were to truly ask me what my opinion on which is better, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe or Mario Kart World, I would answer with a question to you. Do you value traditional Mario Kart with traditional courses and tight controls, but not too complex of a skill ceiling? If so, I would recommend Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. It is more straightforward, it is more traditional, but it does a damn good job of doing it. However, if you were to tell me you were interested in a higher skill ceiling game, where having to come up with new paths on the fly and not really ever memorizing any one course, then I would recommend Mario Kart World. It's just a completely different experience. And as someone who loves high skill ceiling games, I am over the moon about Mario Kart World. But that's my thoughts on it. Like I said, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe still holds a very important space in the space and is still a very valuable game to have and play in a post-Mario Kart World. They just achieve different objectives. But what do you think? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. In the meantime, you've been watching RyeTwost. Of all the YouTube channels, it's the second one. Stay toasty, slices.